me introduce あいみさん。おはようございます。
Good morning. This is Ayumi from Square Enix in America. I'll be helping the translations today. Square Enix アメリカの徳竹あゆみです。今日の通訳を務めさせていただきます。よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
よろしくお願いします。
では
I love how they say hello
In
Japan. Good night, Susuke. And we all love Amy, the translator. She does an amazing job. By the way, that's not my background music playing. That's their background music. You cannot hear my game sounds at all.
So please let me quickly explain how it works today. So I speak Japanese and then I translate myself into English. And then Yoshida-san will explain everything in Japanese. And then Ayumi-san will help his words into English. はい、ということで今日はよろしくお願いいたします。
よろしくお願いします。ではですね、ちょっとプロデューサーレターライブ、皆さんトレーラースタートかと思ったと思うんですけど、最初にですね、ちょっと皆さんにすいません、残念なニュースをお伝えしなければなりません。
So we are about to get started, and I'm sure many of you kind of expected perhaps a trailer would play at the very beginning of our broadcast, but there's one important, an unfortunate news that we will need to share today.
理由はちょっと後ほど説明させていただきますが、11月23日発売予定の今日月のフィナーレですが、申し訳ございません。間に合いませんでした。すいません。
So we will explain the reasonings later, but this is to sincerely apologize that the Endwalker expansion that was planned for November 23rd, I'm afraid will not make it in time for that release timing, so we sincerely apologize.
They look really sad.
ちょっと結論からお話しさせていただきますが、すいません、2週間延期をさせてください。
I felt more bad for them that they feel bad.
To make a long story short, we want to seek your forgiveness that we will be delaying the release of the expansion pack by 2 weeks.
正式な発売日をですね、12月7日とさせていただいて、アーリーアクセスのスタートをですね、
Guys, that changes everything. That means I can play Pokemon.
And so the release date will now be shifted to December the 7th, and early access, which was originally planned for November 19th. I'm terribly sorry, but this will also be shifted to December the 3rd. Again, we apologize.
Okay, December 3rd. Okay,
理由としては、一言で言うとすいません、僕の
I didn't have to rush through this. I wish they told us sooner.
The reason
but
behind that, and if I were to sum it up in just a few words, is I'm sorry again, but this is a very selfish reason.
インタビューでもちょっとお伝えしてた通り、今回のその行月のフィナーレは、過去最大のもう拡張なのは本当に、作ってる自分らがよくわかるんですけど、間違いなく、尋常じゃないボリュームを、なんとか作ってきて、開発チームの
I was trying to go through all of Shadowbringers to make it to Endwalker.
込めてます。それだけで言えば予定通り。
But I'll definitely make it now. I already knew I was going to make it, but...
And I touched upon this during some of the interviews, but Endwalker is definitely going to be one of the largest expansions that we have worked on. And coming from the team and kind of experiencing firsthand the production of this expansion, we know there's a lot of stuff that's going into this expansion. And in terms of like all of the content that we've stuffed in there, those were all moving according to plan.
ただですね、
Biggest expansion ever.
9番から11年かけてやってきた
For sure they have good reason to why they're pushing back the date.
ということで、
And December 3 is fine. We get to play it before Christmas.
皆さんにこう伏線の回収とかをとにかく誤解のないように、取り違いがないようにっ っていうので、まあ、徹底してクオリ
Yeah,
テ
it's not
ィ
a it's
調
it's
整
not
をやっ
like
て
it's
きて、
gonna be like a
まあ
month
本当に
or
僕にし
months.
かわからないと思うん
It's
ですけ
definitely
ど、
doable.
どうしてもこのタイミングでやりきっておきたいっていう部分があってですね。
Yeah, it's not a huge issue
まあ
to
ひたす
me.
ら、あ、ごめんな
But
さ
I
い。
felt more bad for them having to
ひたす
tell
ら、すいませ
everyone
ん、調
as
整
if they were
を
letting us down.
かけてたらですね、最後のマスター QA の期間をちょっと食いつぶしてしまうっていう状態になりました。
But at the same time, this is a saga that we have been working on since the original Final Fantasy XIV, so for about 11 years now. And this is the sort of last part of the Heidelin Zodiac saga. And there are so many foreshadowing and lore that had been established that we wanted to make sure that we're tying up all the loose ends so that there are no misunderstanding, misinterpretation. I was very particular about making sure that these have been thoroughly examined, and these might be things so subtle that only I am aware of these, but I really wanted to make sure that we were very thorough about this, and I just continued with making these adjustments and reviewing and revising and refining that it ate into some of the master QA time.
正直マスターのスケジュールで言えばほんの数営業日の差だったんですけど、やっぱり今回
Thanks, I'm glad you like my stream
まあ
profile
皆さん
picture.
もお気づきの通り、まあ史上最大の混雑が予想される
True, they are a
状
very
態
good
で、
company and they're
で
definitely
マスター
making sure
QA の
that their
期間
product is
っ
up
ていう
to
のは安
par.
定性に非常に
They
大
do a
き
pretty
く
good
関わ
job
ると
at
ころな
that.
ので、まあこれを強引な縮め方をして、
I did say earlier, I wish I told us sooner, but there's still a few days until it was actually supposed to come out. So hopefully people can reschedule if they took time off for work from work.
すいません、先週の金
They
曜日
can
に決断
they
したのも
still have time
本当
to
遅くてすいません。
rearrange like reschedule hopefully.
And it was just a matter of a few business days in terms of our schedule for Master QA. But considering, and I'm sure everybody is aware, with congestion and the access that we are experiencing and just the influx of people, we wanted to
The WoW
take
refugees.
the appropriate time for Master QA because it does relate to the stability of our build. And when trying to evaluate, is this appropriate to release and force it, I was very much torn on making that decision, but I had to draw the line somewhere, and I really apologize. This is something that we've kind of finalized and made the decision as of last Friday, so it is very sudden.
That's why they couldn't tell us sooner,
11
yeah.
年からプロデューサーとディレクターをやってきて、まあ常々こう一人でやってるので折り合いをつけてきたんですけど、まあちょっとまあ1回目の集大成ってことがあって自分の中でもどうしても折り合いがつかなくて、ちょっとディレクターのわがままをすいません抑えきれない状態になってしまいました。すいません。
True, it was only
And
yesterday
being
because
producer
it's
and
Saturday in
director
Japan.
over the course of 11 years, I myself was the producer and director, so in a lot of cases I was able to just deal with it and move on. But considering this is our first culmination, a finale of sorts, I really couldn't compromise, and just the director in me really wanted to push this thought. So again, I'm sorry.
まあ以前その
True, he's the director. He should have the last say whether the product should go out or not. So
初夏になったことはあったんで
he
すけど、
wants to make sure
まあ
it's
自分自身こう14だけじゃなくてキャリア全体通じてもこう発売
up
日
to
を
his standards.
発表してからこう伸ばすってことをしたことがなかったので、まあ本当すみません。
I remember when we did Heaven's Word, we mentioned the release time was going to be springtime, but it ended up being early summer. But this is, gosh, the first time, and not just with 14, but just throughout my entire career, that we had announced a release date and had to delay it. So again,
Oh, really?
I feel
It's the
really
first
bad about
time?
this.
Oh, he looks really upset.
あ、ちょっとすいません。
はい。
One moment.
Oh, I think he's crying. Oh no.
いや、皆さんがね、有給取ったりもうね、してくれてるのも分かってたんで、
Yeah.
パッチをもう、まあ、分割して。
It's just so sad. You see the hard work and dedication. Don't cry. We're fine.
思い切ってね、カットしようかっていうのも考えたんですけど、もともとね、そういう風に作られてるわけじゃないので、まあ、やっぱり品質をすいません、今回はちょっと優先させてください。すいません。
And I understand some of you had taken days off for this, and I know that people have been preparing for this, and we tried to think if there was any way to do this, like, can we split it up into patches and release it at separate timings, or
oh, that's an interesting thought.
Just make a bold step and cut some of the elements, but that's not how our content is made, fortunately. And so this time we really wanted to prioritize bringing you the best quality. So again, I'm really sorry it came to this.
いや、2週間で足りんのかっていう。
I just don't want him to cry because it's gonna make me cry.
コメントもすいません、拝見してるんですけど、大丈夫です。もうほぼほぼ終わってるので、あとは本当に QA を最後徹底していければ。
It's gonna be okay. We're gonna get the game.
まあ本当はね、一周でもっていう選択肢があったぐらいなんですけど、まあしっかり安定性取りたいっていうのと、あとやっぱり後ろに続くパッチのスケジュールっていうところに対してサポートもねしっかりさせていただきたいので、まあそう考えるとすいません2週間っていう方が
seeing him get emotional is definitely the real deal because you can tell he really cares about the game and he feels like he let down people by telling them a date.
And thank you for those comments. From that standpoint, we're okay. It's just a matter of doing thorough QA at this point, and we should be fine. There were talks about do we take 2 weeks of QA or 1 week of QA, but again, we wanted to make sure that we are testing for stability, and plus we also need to have support for the patch schedule following the expansion. So yeah, we decided that 2 weeks would be our safe bet.
いや、自分でもここまでなんだろう作っててなんか思ってた以上になんか思い入れが自分で思ってた以上にすごかったんだなと思って、まあ特に9番から遊んでくださってるねレガシーの方たちにこう9番のねを含めての今回、まあ、答え合わせだったりするので、もうちょっとこだわりすぎかなと自分でも思うんですけど、
Everyone will be playing Endwalker through December into Christmas holidays.
よろしくお願いします。
And I didn't even realize that I had put so much of myself in there, and just my emotions have kind of grown attached to this expansion, and it was very unexpected that I would feel so much about this. But I think players, especially those who've been with us since the original, our legacy players, can understand. But this is not just a finale, but it's looking at the entire story saga and kind of looking at the different loose ends and seeing those come to a conclusion. So I know I may have been a little too nitpicky or very particular about all of what's going into this expansion, but considering we're going to move on and continue the story after we have made a sort of milestone with this saga, I think I needed to make sure that we are giving it our all and we're doing all that we can for this expansion.
Understandable.
そうですね、コメントにもありますけど、とにかく延期の判断が遅い。
That gives you guys more time to catch up.
っていうのは本当おっしゃる通りだと思います。
If you're a little bit behind, but I know some of you guys in my chat are still in ARR or Heavensward. Take your time, no rush. You're not a content creator like me who has to push the content out when Endwalker comes out, so you guys could take your time.
And I'm seeing in the comments, people are saying that, hey, that's really late in terms of when you made the decision about delaying the release. And I understand. I totally understand. We made this decision last Friday, and I consulted the board of directors, and one of the board members, Mr. Miyake, had mentioned, sure, this works because it's a game you're working on, but this is way too late in terms of making a decision. So I understand, and I agree that it is a very late decision.
Yeah, we don't know how their company runs. It could take the decision of making that decision of delaying the game is a hard one. And you always feel like maybe we can make it, you know? And then you're like, okay, we really can't. And if there's certain things that still need to be done that hasn't been done yet, you'll feel bad if you release the game and it hasn't been done yet.
And I'm sure this kind of breaks some of the trust that we have built with you over the course of this game. And I own up to it. I understand that people might feel very betrayed, but just like we did with our previous game,
I don't feel betrayed at all. I mean, anybody who does is
hard with not only 6.0 and
everybody should understand
content beyond that for 6.1 and onward. We are progressing with the production of 6.1, and so we're hoping that with these updates we can earn your trust again, and so your continued support is
I can't imagine
appreciated.
Anybody going, you've lost my trust after this. I sure hope not. That would be silly.